Welcome to another episode of Home Sweet Home. My name is Rod McCall.
And I'm Scott Nichols.
Well, how the heck is today treating you?
I think it's going pretty well. Summertime is great.
I know. I keep coming up with, like summertime. All the different songs from the old days.
I tend to lose track of the days. It's hard for me to figure out, is this Friday? Is this Saturday? What day is this?
Okay.
When I don't have something specific that I need to do, right? I have professional developments and I have, things that I'm doing as kind of side gigs. But when I don't have one of those, I'm just like getting lost and not knowing what day it is. And I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a great thing.
Well,
part of my refreshment, right?
Yes.
To get ready for the next school year.
Yes, I don't. I think I shared a meme here recently that talked about teachers don't have summer vacation.
Sure.
It's a recovery time.
Yeah.
And I truly do believe that it is recovery. That it is. I was watching a thing about Charles Barkley, and he was saying that there's really only 5 professions out there in the world.
Right.
And, he was talking about policemen, firemen, but one of them was teachers.
Yeah.
He said all the others is really, they're not, I don't think you really call them they're not real jobs, but the 5 main jobs are the really hard, stressful ones.
Sure.
And I was kind of surprised by teachers being thrown into that, because it's nice to be recognized that it is a difficult and challenging job.
I think society generally recognizes that because, we do get a lot of discounts and things like that.
Sure.
Frequently. Just like military or first responders do. So
yeah,
I do think it's recognized that, we're not millionaires. Nobody's getting rich off the profession. But we like what we do.
Yeah.
And we do it because it's a service to the community and we enjoy that. So, but yeah, it does require some recovery, right, to be able to do that for another year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
because you're right. It is. I do like the summertime for growth and development professionally. The professional development stuff, opportunities that we have are always. I can always find benefit.
Yes.
We did that one last summer, you and I, on artificial intelligence, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's great.
But it hit home when. Because I was watching, there's been one of the things, well, I guess I should back up a bit. One of the things I love about summertime is I don't have to really be up and out the door super early.
Right.
And my wife loves to watch the Today Show. So in the summertime, I get a lot of Today Show episodes because it starts at 7 o'clock here Central Time.
Right.
And one of the things that they've been stories that they've been talking about the last couple of days is dealing with our health, physical health.
Sure.
And they were talking about, yesterday they had one about heart attacks, and then they had another one today about stress.
Yeah.
And it kind of all fit together. And what I want to share today deals with helping us deal with stress.
Mm.
And I don't think I'm going to share anything revolutionary. I don't think it is anything that is, holy crap, I never heard that before. But I think it's kind of nice to remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word I want to use, but to refresh our memories on how we can better manage the stress of our daily lives.
No, you see, I think as a teacher, right, like one of the great things is that for the summer, I don't have a lot of stress.
No.
Now, the other 10 months of the year, we can discuss that and, why we should have, group counseling and things like that.
Yes.
But, for the summer, it's not so bad. And I think that just as a person, right, like throughout my life, 50 plus years, right, like
Yeah.
I always feel like a lot of people, including myself, have thought in the past, well, I really just like to be stress free, and stress free to me means I need to be independently wealthy. But I think that brings a whole different kind of stress.
Yes.
Right. So I don't think that there's anybody out there who can claim that they don't have any stress, right? Or that they've mastered the idea of how to deal with the stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody has kind of different ways to do it. And I think that, different kind of coping mechanisms and ways that they get it. So I'm interested to hear, your thoughts on that.
Okay, well, okay. So I like the way you said that because these are different ways to help cope with stress. Because you're right, there is literally no way, especially today. Um, Everything is so fast paced now.
I mean, scrolling is not the way that I don't think, right? I don't think scrolling is the way to deal with stress. I think that creates more stress for me.
It can, absolutely.
It sucks up my time and keeps me from doing other valuable things.
And I think that that's where our society today, everything moves at 100 miles an hour. And sometimes it feels like if you're not moving at 100 miles an hour along with it with your hair on fire,
especially on the highways around Dallas. Right?
Well,
everything's 100 miles an hour.
Yes. My gosh. So the other day, I'm getting on the on ramp and it came to a dead stop. Who the heck?
I am just glad that I wasn't in your vehicle when you experienced that, because I think my ears would have hurt.
Let's just say that the 50 or 60 cars on the highway got an earful.
Oh, my goodness.
And my stress level went through the roof, and I should have done a better job of exploring.
Someday I'd like to hear maybe offline about how you cope and what as we talked about in another episode, what your reflection on that was and how you deal with it now.
Oh, well.
But we can talk about that another time.
Oh, pardon me. Golly.
But stress is, something that we experience every day.
Well, yes. And one of the first things to be able to do to help with stress is to try a little meditation. Try some kind of mindfulness that allows you to be in the present and when you're in the present, not be very judgy.
Sure.
This is super hard for me. And I thought, well, we'll start with one that I struggle with the most. I need me time. I need time by myself. And honestly, I love my 30-minute commute to work. That's quiet time. That's me time. I'm listening to my book. And for the most part, I'm not yelling at people driving in their, with poor skills.
Sure.
But I like that time. I like that being able to just kind of get ready for the day. I'm not really thinking of anything. I'm just zoned out to my story that because I listen to my audiobooks. Sometimes I'll listen to other people's podcasts.
Sure.
Bored Teachers is a funny one. I like the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah.
That's fun. But anyway, it's an opportunity for me to, I guess, maybe practice a little bit of this mindfulness.
Yeah.
That's one thing over the summer I have to force myself to do. I don't, because like you were saying, it's a time of less structure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, because I'm home a lot more. Well, I don't have, and everybody else is at home more because, Sherry works from home and my mother-in-law's there and we get the extended family coming over all the time. There's not a lot of quiet rod time.
Right.
So I kind of have to manufacture it, and I'll take off. I'll go to the park. I'll go somewhere where I can just be by myself. But it helps me. It helps me be able to kind of relieve some of that frustration I have from being around the home and all the things that go on there.
I think you need to have something in your routine like that, right? Like for me, it's become my walks.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So every morning, or most every morning, I try to walk just over 3 miles. And it takes just under an hour.
Okay.
I've got it up to like a 16 and a half minute pace.
Wow.
So for, per mile. And I just walk. Now it does multiple things for me, right? I listen to music that I like. I've got a playlist that actually my youngest daughter made and shared with me. She made it for me. And it's all like 70s, 80s music.
Well, love it.
And I love it. I only fast forward through a couple of songs sometimes because you want to have a certain pace, right?
Yeah.
But I just listen to music. I think about things. I walk. It's going to take me almost an hour every time. My biggest worry is not to get run over. So when I'm crossing a street or something, but that it's pretty quiet in my neighborhood, so I can just do that, and I'm away from everything. I don't bring my phone with me because I have a smartwatch that keeps track of all my fitness stuff.
Right.
So I don't bring any of that stuff with me, and it's just time for me to reflect and maybe think about the day in a quiet, calm kind of a way. But it also gives me fitness, right? I mean, in doing that, along with some of the other things that I've done for me, I mean, I've lost 50 pounds in 5 months. So it's been a great thing, right? Because I have 3 goals that I've had for years now. And one is spiritual health, the other is physical health, and then the third one's financial health. And so those are, things that I'm always working on. And I think that middle one, that certainly the physical health, in that I am doing activities that allow me to think and relax and do other things, has been helping me quite a bit.
Well, and by saying physical activity, that's actually another one of the items that on my list that I put together is physical activity. I have, well, since school ended, I am sorry to say I haven't been doing my morning walks.
But to be fair, I mean, for a while there, you went on a long vacation.
Well, yeah, that was kind of nice. And I did a lot of walking. But during the school year, that is part of my morning routine.
Yeah.
I get up. I don't walk 3 miles. It's a little over a mile because I'd have to get up extra early instead of just extra early. But that morning walk, like you say, gives you that mindfulness, but it also gives you that physical activity.
Sure.
And I mean, time and time again, I have heard for years about the endorphins that generate in the body as a consequence of physical exercise, and those endorphins can actually make you happy.
Yeah, I mean, people think I'm crazy, but I mean, my wife and I generally get up at 4 a.m. She gets up at 4 a.m. She sits and she does prayer and reads her Bible and spends some time for herself, right? And we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, so like I stay in the bedroom and I do some thinking, I do some reading, I do some things, and then by 5 o'clock I'm out the door walking for a mile, and walking for 3 miles. Sorry, so it takes about an hour. I get back at 6. She's taking a shower. Like we have this routine now that really works, and I kind of protect that time, both for her and for me. And I got to say, I mean, I'm not really tired. I go to bed anywhere between 9 and 10 at night. But I'm usually reading for an hour before we actually go to sleep. So it's been really a change in my physical life, but it has so much calmed me down and brought me to a place of reflection on a lot of things. And I'm reading more books. I mean, it's been really, really good. So, I mean, injecting something into your routine that is more about you.
Yes.
While also respecting others, right? To be able to do that same thing in your household is really, I think, really, really good for people.
Well, and it doesn't
even great for me.
Well, I mean, now you're doing your 3 miles a day. It doesn't have to even be that much. I mean,
I mean, it could be whatever, right? It's like I mean, I worked my way up to doing 3 miles.
Well, yeah,
and I can do 3 miles in under an hour.
And that's really impressive. But yes, you're right. It has taken you some time. I remember when we were talking almost a year ago, when, about walking and this, that,
it
and
was
the other.
brutal.
But I mean, the American Heart Association is saying if you can just do 150 minutes a week, it would be enough. And I think that when we're talking about exercise, this is dedicated just exercise time. This isn't
Sure.
like work. My dad worked outside. My dad was always working. He did a lot of physical exercise with his job, but this is in addition to that, because work is stressful. This is something that, is not work related.
I mean, stress is so much related to health. I mean,
Yes.
and health indicators about having too much stress are often things like blood pressure, right? And my most recent, sharing a little health data here, right? My most recent blood pressure was fantastic. I mean, so much so that my doctor was like, "Wow, that is a really, like, it's in the athletic range almost."
Holy cow!
And I've never had it that low. I've never had those kind of numbers. It's been great. Now, what have I been doing? Right, I've been walking 3 miles a day. I've been eating better, eating less, and I have been, I've been actually donating blood regularly. And all those things, right? Like lower stress, they improve your heart health. I mean, and when your body feels better, right, then you feel better about other things, and you can be more focused, mindful, and it just really, like, it all comes together to make you more positive, make you feel better, make you have energy. I mean, it's all really good stuff.
And when you just mentioned about your eating, that's what they're saying. I remember my mom always saying, well, we need to have a colorful plate and it shouldn't all be one color. And I know to this day, when I'm making meals, I'm trying to make, well, okay, we're making chicken. Okay, then I need a green vegetable. And well, what's going to be, maybe, mainly we're making, maybe is it a potato? Maybe it's some kind of dressing stuff, stovetop, or something else. Where maybe it's rice on the side. It depends, but I try to have it multiple colors. And again, that's part of having a healthy diet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got to be honest, my wife, sometimes I've been making a lot of meals and they're all high protein. And they happen to all, like, really involve a lot of rice.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to get some lower glycemic rice, get a jasmine rice or something, but they all include that. They all have meat. I mean, and they're generally more protein than there is carbs, right? So it's a high protein thing, and it helps me lose weight. But my wife does complain that sometimes it doesn't have a lot of vegetables, right? It's not very colorful. It's full of flavor and spices, which I love, but not always colorful. So sometimes I have to add some things to it. To kind of satisfy her desire for more of the vegetables, and I love the vegetables too. But we add a salad or something.
Right? But that can be colorful.
But, those, but the recipes themselves don't typically have that in it, because some of the vegetables actually have quite a lot of like sugar involved in them. So that's some of that. But I mean, doing that along with all the other things I'm doing has been really changing my life.
And that is where I wanted to go with this. The idea of helping reduce your stress. It's nothing revolutionary. No. It's nothing that has not been shared before by many other much smarter people. But being able to revisit.
Almost everybody's smarter than me. So.
Well, me too. All I have to do is ask my students. But the idea of being able to have all these things, and one thing, again, speaking of our students, sleep, something that they don't get. But it's not just quality sleep. And I remember.
Well, that's a thing.
Oh, I totally agree. But one of my aunts used to always say that the sleep before midnight is twice as good as the sleep after midnight. I don't know how accurate that is, but some of the things that I've been reading, because I'm really wanting to present some information to my students as to why I'm going to have a very radical cell phone policy in my classroom next year. But screen time. One of the things that I keep running into is screen time before you go to bed. Don't have the TV on. This is something that I cannot convince my wife of. But you can turn the TV off before you go to sleep.
Sure.
I mean, my mother-in-law sleeps with the TV on 24 hours a day, and I'm going.
See, I tend to do that in a hotel room if I'm alone.
Yeah.
It just comforts me.
Well, it fills the void of being by yourself.
I don't sleep as well to begin with.
And
in those
now,
situations.
I will say that Sherry does like to have the timer. And so she'll set the timer to go off about a half hour, she's really tired, or maybe an hour, so that it's not going on. Because Eric's mom, it had to be on all night long.
Yeah.
And I hated that because it did interfere. It would wake me up. Either the light from the television or the noise from the television would wake me up. And they're saying that disrupts your sleep.
Yeah.
And so it makes it hard. And when you're, again, not getting good quality sleep, then it's going to have a negative impact on your ability to handle the daily stress.
Yeah.
And okay, so maybe if you're like me, you can't get the TV turned off. Other things, taking a warm bath before bed. I have found that even if it's not a bath, just a shower before bed, nice hot shower can help reduce, make my muscles relax.
Sure.
Neck, shoulders in particular. But something that I think is super important, this has really helped me a lot, and that is social connections.
Yeah.
I am a social person. Anybody that knows me will agree. Sherry goes, my God, you know everybody. Every time we go somewhere. Put me in a crowd and I'll make friends with half of them within minutes.
My wife gets annoyed with the fact that I can do that as well.
And so, but it helps me by being able to talk to anybody about anything. And it helps reduce my stress. We can laugh, we can joke.
Sure.
But I make social connections. And that's one of the things that can be instrumental in helping we as an individual cope with stress.
Yeah.
And because I need those social connections.
Yeah. I think it's important. So I want to back up a hair here, right? Because you were talking about at night.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I read a book.
Mm-hmm.
And I read a book until I'm really tired, and then I put the book down and I go to sleep right away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can sleep really well. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I sleep a lot better now that I've been exercising and doing all those other things. Right.
Yeah.
So that really helps. But aside from that, my wife, she reads a book and she has some tea at night, and I've actually tried some of that too. So we went to a fancy store where we could, I could buy tea like in bulk, and so I tried some different teas, and I like it. It's kind of nice, but that calms you down, relaxes you, and the reading, reading for fun at night, just some kind of book that you enjoy, not necessarily because I read books for professional stuff too.
Yeah,
I don't read those at night. I read something that I enjoy, which typically for me is a history related novel.
Okay.
Of some sort, either a nonfiction history or a fiction history. Doesn't make any difference, right? But I just enjoy those kinds of things. So, but I think that's important, right? And one of the things my wife and I have always had a commitment for all these years we've been married, right? To never have a television in our room, in our bedroom. We've just never had one. We don't do that. We have one TV. That's all we have. Whoever watches it, we watch the same stuff, or we just don't watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just been a commitment we've had, and I've really I feel like that does some great things for us, right? And I'm actually proud of the fact that my son and his wife have done the same thing, right? They don't have a TV in their room. In their bedroom, right? The bedroom is for sleep. It's for, all the other fun things that you do. Mm-hmm. So, you don't want to interrupt it with some kind of television thing, right?
Okay.
So, that's just a commitment that we have. And that doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but I think that lowers my stress, right? When I know when I go to our bedroom, it's not about television or any of the other things in life. It's about a quiet, comfortable space that I can relax in.
And I think that is, what they're kind of suggesting, in some of the things that I was looking at when trying to put this together was things that, everybody's a little different, but if it works for you, then keep doing it.
Yeah.
But because having a nice, comfortable bed is paramount. I definitely sleep better at home because the bed is
Sure.
tailor made to my style. I we have, even though, well, we have a bigger house, um, and since we have multiple people living with us, not everybody likes it at the same temperature. So we actually have a window unit,
Yeah.
and the whole house is set at one temperature, but we'll get the bedroom to around 69, 70 degrees at night
Sure.
with the AC going, and I sleep like a, well, I don't want to say a baby because babies don't always sleep well, but I can sleep like a rock, and that helps a lot. And I do sleep. Again, I think that's why I sleep so much better at home.
Yeah. There are two things that I have for comfort, right, and stress relief.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is a really good mattress, which is expensive.
Yeah.
And the other is shoes, I think, are super important. So,
Yeah.
Just to be comfortable, right? Like, but that's the part of that's the diabetic thing that I have. You got to have your feet protected and feeling good. So,
well, the last thing I want to share in my research that I was looking at, and this is so true for me, having some kind of relaxation technique or hobbies. Now, me, I have hobbies. I don't know that I really have any relaxing techniques, but I do have hobbies. I play, again, my wife, she makes fun of me, but it is fun. I play Magic the Gathering, and I have some pals, and we play Magic, well, not as much lately, but we get together and we will play. And sometimes we'll have a whole weekend. We'll play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we play Magic the Gathering. That's been something I've been doing for, better part of 30 years.
Sure.
And I love it. It's a horribly expensive hobby, but I love it. I've recently gotten back into playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. I will admit that I know absolutely nothing about either of those things.
But they are fun. These are things that allow me to have those social connections, but it also allows me to relax. It helps me put, for a short time, the stressors of life on a shelf and not focus on it and do something entertaining, relaxing with people that I enjoy spending time with.
Yeah. I have things as well, like, for instance, the podcast. I like to play golf. I haven't done it very much in recent times, but I like to read. I like to flip furniture, right? Like, I go out and I find furniture that I can get and resell it and deliver it to people who need it. And so it's just something that relaxes me. It sounds silly, but
no,
it's something that's outside of the norm that I would do. And sometimes my wife helps me, and sometimes she doesn't. But she has her own hobbies, right? Reading is among them. She loves to exercise. I mean, we've got gym memberships. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that we do, and we do different things. So, but yeah, I think that's really important, right? You should have a hobby, something that's outside of your profession.
Yeah.
Right. But it's fun to you.
Sure.
And it shouldn't, I'm not talking about gig work, right? Like, I used to be an Uber driver for a while. That wasn't my hobby. Right? Like that actually creates its own stress. You want your hobby to not be stressful. Right? So if you're out there on the golf course and you're throwing your clubs around, that might not be the hobby for you. Right. Maybe find another one. I used to play billiards, right? Like, I used to be in a 9-ball, league.
Wow.
And we were pretty good at it. So, that's something I love to do as well. Just haven't done it in a long time. But, find something that is something that you would enjoy. Right? Every minute of you doing it.
Sherry loves to put together puzzles. That's one of her stress relieving things, but she says they can't be too complicated because then they're not relaxing.
I literally like the 5,000 piece puzzles. I mean, I would do a 5,000 piece puzzle in less than a day.
Oh, wow.
So I just love it.
Sure, hers are somewhere between the 500, 750, maybe upwards of 1,000.
Yeah. I did a couple of like 2,000 to 5,000 piece ones over the pandemic that were a lot of fun. Took pictures of them.
Wow.
So,
Well, so just to recap, just some things that we can do to kind of help improve our stress, to help us be able to make it more successfully through the day, is find time for ourselves,
yes.
to do a little mindfulness or meditation. Make sure that you are getting your physical exercise,
Yeah.
and eat healthy, balanced. Don't eat out every meal every day.
Sure.
Get quality sleep. Have friends that you socialize with. Have some hobbies that you can engage with. And as you're able to do these things, I think it can give you the ability to tackle life maybe just a little bit better, a little bit easier, so that way we can get along better with the people we like the most.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe sometimes the people we don't like very well,
Sure.
like coworkers.
That doesn't happen around here, but
Oh.
not in our profession and our place of work.
That is true.
We have a great team.
So anyway, that's that was where, again, I appreciate you letting us have this conversation about stress. And well, if we can help keep our stress in check, maybe we can help keep our health in better check, keep heart attacks at bay, and live a longer, healthier, more satisfying life.
Boy, does that sound great.
It does to me.
All right.
Well,
I think that's it.
okay. Wow. Holy crud. Man, this went fast. All right. Well, then I guess until next time, my name's Rod.
And I'm Scott.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.